China once described its relationship with North Korea as close as lips and teeth. That is obviously changing, but China still says North Korea is largely a U.S. problem and the U.S. should open talks to diffuse tensions. Elaine?
Well, Ben, can you give us some context? Why is North Korea so aggressive towards the U.S. in the first place?
North Korea really views the United States as the ringleader, per se, of these sanctions that have happened over time. Keep in mind, this is not the first round of sanctions. North Korea has been through at least 7 rounds of sanctions over the course of 11 years. They view the United States as leading that effort. They also look at the example of places like Iraq and Libya, where the U.S. was a proponent of regime change. And this is all about survival of the Kim regime. And they don't want the U.S. coming in there overthrowing their regime. And they feel the only way they can deter that is if they have weapons that will force the U.S. to sit down and talk.
Well, Ben, as you noted, this isn't the first time there have been sanctions, and in the past, sanctions have not curbed North Korea's threats. What is different this time?
Well, we'll only know in a couple of months if these sanctions really have the teeth in them that everybody says they do. This largely is up to China whether or not these sanctions work. In the past, China has gone along with them for a little while and then kind of eased up on North Korea. What seems different this time is the Chinese government really does seem finally fed up with North Korea. They have told them to stop the missile launches, stop the nuclear tests. Their foreign minister came out and said that China will implement these sanctions 100%. If they do that, these sanctions really will live up to the billing of the toughest in a generation, and that could squeeze North Korea enough to either sit down and talk or, on the flip side of that, take some sort of action that the world community doesn't necessarily want to see.
Well, Kim Jong-un's regime is vowing a, quote, action of justice in response, with officials saying another missile test could be coming. Could we potentially see some kind of preemptive military response here from the U.S.?
It's possible, but you know, when you talk to the experts about this, or you even hear military commanders say this is one of those cases where they do say there are no good options when you're talking about a military option. Nobody really knows what would happen if the U.S. went in and did surgical airstrikes. Would that be enough for Kim Jong-un to say, okay, fine, I'm going to start launching missiles at Seoul, which is right across the border and home to millions of people? So this is the kind of situation that could spiral out of control within a matter of minutes. This is not like going into an Iraq. It's not like going into a Libya. This is one of the most heavily armed borders in the world, and nobody knows what it would take for Kim Jong-un to start attacking South Korea or even Japan.
A lot of open questions right now. Ben Tracy, thanks so much.